and welcome back to my channel, Happy Artist. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much to all my subscribers. I have hit 1,000 subscribers this week, so thank you very much for the support. Please do keep sharing so that we can all learn and pour together. In this video, I'm going to give you the list of things that you would need as a beginner to tackle pouring art. As a beginner, you've watched so many videos on YouTube and everyone just starts with mixing their colors very quickly, not always explaining that part, pouring them in whatever technique they're using, and then tilting it or blowing it or whatever the case is and coming up with this beautiful product. And you look at it and you go, wow, you want to try that, but you actually don't know where to start. I've seen quite a few questions on the Facebook groups where people ask, where do I go to? What do I need to buy? So this is a list of things that you can go and buy at your local craft store, an art store, just to try and get the basics and then a list of extras so that you can get into this amazing and very addictive hobby. The first thing you're going to need is paint, specifically acrylic paint. Acrylic paint is water-based, so it is non-toxic, very quick and easy to use. Depending on where you are, what country you're in, and what kind of craft store you go to, you're going to look at different products. For instance, I've used quite a wide variety of products in different brands. I started off with this sort of brand, the Dollar paint, and as you can see it says craft paint. So at first glance you don't think this is acrylic paint. It also doesn't tell you, I just checked, it does not tell you that it is acrylic paint. It just tells you what you could use this paint for. I actually asked at the store, is this acrylic paint? And they said yes. Some of the other brands like Zellcraft clearly state it is craft acrylic, and does mention that it is a water-based acrylic paint in the description as well. A different brand that I've used is the Art Jamming, and it clearly states it's a student acrylic paint. This doesn't necessarily have a description, but I was able to ask the lady in the store, and yes, it is acrylic paint just the same. And then, my favorite one at the moment, the Gecko Art paints. These are acrylic pouring paint. The difference here is they have already been mixed down to a slightly thinner consistency. So for most consistencies, you already have that warm honey or level 2 consistency that you can literally pour immediately and you don't need medium. But that's a whole nother subject. The reason I'm pointing these out is there are different consistencies in each color, each brand, and the quality changes a lot. When you're starting out, you don't necessarily want to go for the most expensive brand, and that's perfectly fine. Go for the cheapest brand, but keep in mind you may experience cracking or crazing. To try and avoid this, there's a link at the top for you. So basics number 1 is you just need acrylic paint. Then you're going to need some sort of acrylic pouring medium. Again, most craft stores will have their own brands. All you need to do is basically use the medium to thin down the paints, but still have some sort of binder in them so that they don't split the pigments. You want to thin down the paints because most acrylic paints, if you have a look at them in the tub or in a bottle, they're like paste. So you're not going to pour paste. They're like toothpaste. So you need to thin this down. To do that, you will use a pouring medium. This medium will basically thin down your paint, but then still bind all the pigments together so at the end, when it dries, it doesn't crack. Again, there are cheap, thin products and expensive, really good thick products. You can go for the cheapest, but if you do combine cheap paint with cheap medium, you're not going to get the same results that you're seeing on YouTube by the experts. Those are the 2 most basic things that you need. And then obviously a canvas. It doesn't need to be an actual stretched material canvas. You can use boards, you can use coasters, you can use any sort of surface. If you're unsure whether you're allowed to pour directly onto that surface or not, ask at the craft store if it has already been primed or gessoed. Both of these are a sealing layer basically, just so that your water-based paint does not seep into whatever your canvas is, changing the color and probably the properties of your canvas as well. You've got your paint, you've got your canvas, and you've got your medium. From there on, the basics that you would need, as you've seen, you would either use cups or jars to mix in and lollipop sticks to mix with. Those are your basics. Now getting into some more of the technical stuff. As a beginner, you have seen beautiful videos where cells are created. In order to do this, you're going to need to use a oil-based product. As you can see in this image over here, there are quite a few different oil-based products that you can use. The reason I mentioned that you would need to use the oils, as a beginner, this is going to be your easiest way to create cells. It's not the only way to create cells, and having a silicone or an oil-based product on your canvas at a later stage does make things a bit more difficult to clean, but we'll get there when we get there. You can either buy something that is specifically for craft acrylic paints. You can buy hair products. You can try dish soap, real oil, craft silicone, treadmill oil. There are a few things you can use. And to understand how all of these create cells, I have a whole separate video for you on how cells are created so that you understand the science behind it and why you need the oils. I would suggest that you get yourself a small palette knife. In one of my next videos, I'm going to show you how to use the palette knife successfully. It just helps move the paint around on the canvas to stretch things, specifically your base color, before you start pouring. Then you will need extras, cute little extras, depending on what technique you do. For instance, if you're going to go with the Dutch technique, you're going to need either a straw or a hairdryer to blow the paint out. If you're wanting to do the string or chain pull technique, you're going to need a piece of string or the chain. It's always good to have a toothpick or skewer handy as well. These can either help pop air bubbles or scrape off small hairs that have dropped into the wet paint. And another little nifty tool is a butane torch. There's quite a lot of controversy out there that they speak about using these torches to create amazing cells. Yes, they do create cells in some instances to try and boost how the silicone creates the cells, but they're mostly for popping air bubbles again. And that's what creates those cells on your canvas. I hope that helps. You can now pop over to one of the videos where I did my beginners, flip cup, Dutch pour, open cup, swipe, and the rest of the techniques on how each one is done. I hope you have a magical day. Ciao for now. What is it called? Here we go. Wow. Requirement. In this video, I'm going to describe, wow, and what craft and blah, 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 blah. For instance, surface? Can I say surface? Yeah. What else do you need? You're going to need a string. A string?